The following video is just to give you some information about what GCSE Maths is, how it's made up and how we teach it at Wearne School. Obviously GCSE Maths is not an option and all students have to study it, but the following information might give you some idea in terms of how we go about that at Wearne School. So there is a few things I'm going to go through in terms of what the examinations are, the exam board we use, how we will support a child to achieve success in GCSE Maths, what your child needs to do, and then some resources that we utilise. So GCSE Maths is still split into higher and foundation. No decision will be made as to whether your son or daughter will do higher or foundation until around March, February time in year 11. So there's plenty of time to do that. Both exams are split into 3 papers. They all have this equal weighting of a third. They're all an hour and 30. 2 have a calculator and 1 doesn't. If you study foundation or do the foundation exam, then you can only be graded from grades 1 to 5. And if you do higher, then that's graded from 4 to 9. Okay, with 4 being the national standard for a pass. So because the courses are slightly different in terms of makeup, the following pie charts just show the topics and the percentage weighting that each tier has. So foundation, for example, half the marks on foundation is made up between number, ratio, proportion and change. So those are the 2 massive topics on foundation that have to be mastered to do well, and then other topics such as statistics and probability are not as examined as much as they used to be. In higher, there is a bigger emphasis on algebra and looking at the fundamental skills of maths for higher education, so there is a lot more emphasis on those more difficult topics in algebra, but also ratio, proportion and rates of change are still a big part of that unit. So we deliver the course in a mastery style. So what it means is that we build up unit by unit in terms of developing skills and making sure that the students have a depth and breadth of knowledge across the GCSE spectrum. So to do that, they will study 8 units of work which are built into different topics, and each topic leads into the next to help them to connect their learning together, and each unit going downwards builds on the last. Every unit is split into 2, and then during the 2 there is what is called learning evaluations for Unit A and Unit B, where your son daughter will have the opportunity to show what they have learned from that unit, and the teacher will mark that piece of work and give them feedback. There is no marks attached to that piece of work because it's not about what they're getting in terms of raw mark, it's about what they understand and what they don't understand, and then the work that they're given subsequent to that, which we call dirt work, dedicated improvement reflection time, allows them to improve on those areas they're not doing as well on to round the unit off. At the end of the unit then, there is an end of unit assessment which we do record a score from, so that we consistently have every 5 to 6 weeks a grade and some idea of where your son daughter's up to and their areas of strength and weakness. It's important that they engage in all the units and they're in the school as much as possible because they are all interconnecting. So missing one part of a unit could cause knock-on effects for other units in terms of the skills that they need. To be successful, they need to make sure they engage in all lessons and take appropriate notes. We run lessons in a very set format in maths to allow students to make success in terms of we always go through an example which we call a my term, which is delivered by the teacher, and students need to copy that down in their book and given time to copy that down and put a box around it to show it's an example. they're doing that properly and consistently, they will find that their book will naturally become a revision book, and as it gets fuller, they'll have more and more resources to refer back to and check when they revise. They always need to ask for help. Sometimes a short, small question can lead to significant learning, and they need to make sure that they don't leave anything. If they don't understand and they need to check, then they need to ask that question as soon as possible. They need to do the homework. Homework is issued in year 10 every week. So that's done through the resource that we have called Hegarty Maths. So that will be based on learning they have done in that lesson. And then in year 11, homework evolves into them having to complete an exam paper every week through an electronic program or on paper, depending on their preference. And that's another way that we can record scores and check what they're doing well on and what they need to improve on. They could also do a little bit extra by buying revision books and 15 minutes a week additional, just working on what we've done in class or just in general, will make a massive difference. They will receive feedback quite extensively throughout the course, so in every unit they will receive feedback at least twice, if not more, depending on the teaching level and how long the content takes. They will receive feedback on an end of unit test. We do tests throughout the year in terms of being able to give them progress scores and reports. So when a report is due, you will find that your son or daughter will be asked to do some form of exam, which we then grade and decide their exam results from. Every time they do an exam in that manner, they will receive a full set of feedback, which then they can use to improve on their learning. We've got multiple resources to help them, such as Hegarty Maths, Pixel Maths, Method Maths, to support their learning, and we incorporate that into lessons to make it the norm for them to work their way through. Okay, on the website will be the email for every teacher in the maths department, along with my own personal email as subject leader of maths. So if there's any more information you need or would like to discuss anything regards the course, please do get in contact with any of us.